up, people? It's your boy Osman back again with another video rocking the ODS. If you know the homies brand Cams. Obviously, make sure you show love to him. It's at Cam on Twitter if you want to order one. As always, gonna just ignore me hair, but just looking beautiful as always, like myself without my hat on. But anyways, getting into it, as you can see from the title, England against Italy in the Euros 2020 final. Who would have thunk it? England have made it all the way, and as the title suggests, is football coming home? That's the question on today's show. Is football coming home? That is the question. I want you all to let me know in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, make sure you slap a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Obviously, got the homies. Obviously, just showing love, basically. First and foremost, Kojo and Kale. Have a good one, bro. Thank you, as always, for the support. CFCJ, shout out to you. Smash it, bro. And last but not least, hit the like. Shout out to the boys. Appreciate that. That was from Ty, of course. But listen, we're going to get into it. England against Italy, man. I can't believe I'm saying that. In the Euros 2020 final, we've got It's Cops in. Hi. Hello, bro. How are you, man? Good to have you in the building. Get your thoughts in the comment section. As always, if you're watching this on repeat, I want to get your score predictions down. Put them in the chat right now. But if you're watching on repeat on YouTube, score predictions in the comments. That's what we want to see because, you know, I just want to see what the general consensus are. You know, how are we feeling? Are we confident going into this game? England beating Denmark on the way here 2-1, courtesy of a goal via Harry Kane. Look, first and foremost, England in that game, very professional performance. Throughout the game, I wasn't worried personally. You know, I saw a lot of people on Twitter overreacting when we went 1-0 down, and I was calm. I mean, there's proof on the watch-along. I said it's going to be 2-1 England. As soon as we conceded that goal, it's going to be the same as Croatia. Trippier scores that free kick. Croatia do us 2-1, and it was practically the same. It scored in extra time as well. It was the carbon copy, really. But for me personally, the thing about that game was that he made the substitutions at the right times again. In fact, no, actually didn't. He made one substitution at the right time, which was Grealish. My concern was the fact that he didn't make more substitutions. That is what I meant to say. I mean, that's an issue for me personally, but we'll get onto that very shortly. Don't want to be too negative. Big Run in the building. Good evening. A good evening if you're trolling Manchester United fans. It's coming home. It's coming home. Football's coming home. Oh, no, he said football's coming to Rome. No, man. Joke, LOL. 3-2 to England. Already nervous, bro. I think the final will go down to the wire, England to win on pens. I mean, I don't want to spoil my prediction, but we'll get into that a bit later on. But yeah, first and foremost, I want to be positive. England, throughout the whole competition, let's just go through some of the games. First and foremost, right at the start of the competition, clean sheets galore in the group stages. The 0-0 against Scotland massively worried me. I mean, I felt a bit disappointed with that performance. I felt like we had to go for that a bit more. But we've grown into the competition in terms of the performance have been better. However, my only concern is we aren't scoring enough goals. We kind of just about got over the line against Denmark, although I was never really worried in that game. But nevertheless, we aren't scoring enough goals, which is a major concern of mine against a very sturdy back four or back three, wherever they go from. And I think it's probably going to be, I mean, the kind of and ahhing between the formations is probably going to be a 4 at the back for Italy. But with Bonucci and Chiellini in the back, we're not going to have many chances. We need to be clinical. Not only that, we need to make sure we're efficient on the night. It's very important. I think for me personally, it's integral that we start the game on the front foot. We can't allow them to get in their rhythm of passing the ball around and obviously trying to dictate play. But yeah, let's just get back to obviously the strengths. You know, we got into the Germany game. The Germany game was the one that impressed me the most. If anything, we need to look at the Germany game and look at the manner in which we approach that. I think that's the closest match team to Italy, arguably better than Italy. We don't know, and obviously they never played against each other. But Germany coming from the group of dads, that impressive victory against Portugal, winning that game 4-2. I was worried about this game. I was very worried. I thought that we were going to struggle in this game. And the way Southgate approached the game was absolute perfection in the manner in which he set us up to nullify their fullbacks, in particular Gossens, who's been absolutely flying in the competition prior to that game. I mean, he's been tormenting everyone. He was great against Portugal. I mean, he wasn't brilliant against France, but nevertheless, you know, he was a massive asset for them, and the way we dealt with him was absolutely second to none. We didn't allow him to really get into any momentum, any groove, and really utilize his strength, which is of course bombing forward, offering an extra avenue for the attacking team. And that was something I was really impressed with, the manner in which he used the squad, the manner in which he rotated the players. And I think if Saka came into that game, who was absolutely phenomenal that game, I think he got the man of the match that one. But he was absolutely pivotal to that victory, and I think it was very impressive. You know, Germany barred that Muller chance, which of course, as we know, he should have scored. They didn't really lay a glove on England at all, and you've got to give huge credits. I know a lot of people have said this ain't the same Germany, but for me personally, I'm a huge fan of that Germany team. The crop of players they've got. I mean, I think we're underestimating the achievement that is to overcome a good Germany team. I know, again, it's not the greatest of German teams, but they've got a lot of talent in that team. So that England made that look easy. Look at the way they played against Portugal. So fair play to Southgate. You know, coming away from that game, we go to Ukraine, or we play Ukraine in Rome. We absolutely demolished them in the second half. I mean, the first half was 1-0, I believe. You know, it wasn't the greatest of performances, I must say. The first half, it was kind of like, you know, I mean, we were and ahhing regarding that. But, you know, as soon as we got into our group, we absolutely demolished them. It was as simple as that. And not fair play to the boys, man. We put them to the sword. Oh, we needed that for confidence. In particular, Harry Kane finally getting off the mark. He massively needed those goals. And since then, he's not looked back. 4 goals in a matter of games. And, you know, potentially going for the golden boot. What an incentive. Not only bringing football home, but bringing another golden boot on a personal level for him would be a great achievement back to back. But there's a lot to go off in terms of what England have shown, in particular in games where they've been under pressure. I mean, some people were saying England, you know, they haven't conceded a goal. How are they going to react to going conceding a goal, let alone going a goal behind? I mean, that was never a concern for me. A lot of players playing for high elite football at you know, a high level, which is what I was trying to allude to there. You know, you got players playing for Man United. You got players playing for Chelsea, Liverpool. I mean, Spurs on a high level, but Arsenal neither are. But you get the point. You know, they used to pressure. They used to be the goal behind. I mean, that wasn't really anything that was going to concern me. But they overcame that with absolute professionalism again in that Denmark game. So a lot of positive to going from the England perspective. Now let's look at the Italy team. I've got to be honest, I don't know if they're complete right of passage. I've got to say I'm probably going to make a couple of mistakes here. But in the group stage, first and foremost, I mean, I expect them to top the group. You know, their group wasn't outstanding, but they were absolutely brilliant within that group as well. Again, a lot of impressive performances. Italy, after the group stages, were one of the teams to beat, realistically speaking. A lot of people, including myself, were starting to sing their praises. However, I was very skeptical of whether this Italy team means the business. And then they came across Belgium, and that performance against Belgium was an absolutely outstanding performance. And again, Belgium, potentially not the greatest Belgium team in recent times, but nevertheless, still a lot of quality on show there. They got talent in abundance within that squad, and Italy were professional, to say the least, the way they brushed them aside. Great performance, you know, a couple of individual moments of brilliance for the goals, or for the goal even. And, you know, Italy have been very, very good at the back. I know England have got an outstanding record, but Italy as well, you can see what it means to them. That passion, that desire, what you would affiliate with Italian football in general, that hunger, you know, they want it. They want it badly. They make no mistake about it. Of course, the England lads do, but the Italians, they've just got a different way. You know, they've got that charisma. They've got that body language as well. You know, they just feel this as well. I mean, you can see it with the whole squad in the Italian team. Every single tackle, these mans are celebrating at the score. You see Chiellini with Jordi Alba prior to a game. Man's got into his head. These guys will do anything to win. The dark arts, Immobile. I can't remember who that was against when he got up just after the scored. I mean, where he went down and then obviously scored and got up and celebrated. You know, these guys will do anything to win. We gotta make sure, you know, that we're aware of that situation as well, because, you know, the dark arts are gonna potentially do it. We've seen with Beckham all those years back with Simeone. We need to be careful. They're gonna be trying to get under our skin. You know, Chiellini's already started the mind games. taking shots at England and the players, etc. I mean, that's what you'd expect from these guys. You know, they would do anything. They would kill someone on the pitch if they have to, if it means bringing it back to Rome. But yeah, let's get the comments in. United Way in the chat saying, yes, boys. Benji saying, Usman looking cleaner. I appreciate it, my guy. Thank you for stopping in all the way from Ghana. As always, much love to you, my bro. Hopefully back soon. But yeah, as I was saying, back to Italy. Defensively, absolutely astute. You know, giving nothing away. Absolutely nothing. These guys, like I said, throwing bodies, limbs on the line. You know, they got Bonucci, Chiellini, warriors at the back. My only concern with them, which will come shortly onto the weaknesses, but the fullback, Di Lorenzo, doing fantastic. He's coming to the team off the back of a couple of injuries. I mean, he's come in and fit the bill straight away. Absolutely no issues whatsoever. Man has just slotted in without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, that's the credit to Mancini. The system that he deploys, fantastic. Obviously, the instructions that he's giving is quite clear because the players no hassle, and you can chop and change any of the players, and the next man comes in and delivers the exact same performance as the predecessor. But there is a weakness there, which I will come on to shortly. The midfield, for me personally, as always, the midfield battle is integral in any game of football, and you've got couple of the best players about on current form. You got Barella. He's come off the back of a phenomenal season for Inter Milan. You know, title winners, etc. But just in the competition as well, a couple of moments of brilliance. I think it was against Spain where he scored that individual goal. I think it was Spain. I can't remember if it was Spain when he scored that bad boy goal and took on a couple of players. I'm pretty sure it was Spain. But nevertheless, like, you know, he's just one of the players. They got Verratti in there. They got Jorginho, the maestro, been pulling the strings. I mean, if people are claiming that he's player of the tournament to go ahead and win it, I basically would put him in the conversation, no doubt. I think he deserves the credits and the plaudits that he probably hasn't got in recent times, in particular in the Premier League. But the control, that is the issue for me. The way they're going to control the game is a huge concern. I know against Spain it was a flip, and Spain controlled the game, which was somewhat of a surprise to me personally. Although Spain's midfield is outstanding as well, I did think Italy would have more of a foothold in that game. But nevertheless, in this game, I'm expecting Italy to dominate the ball. I mean, you got players on the bench that can't even make the team, like Locatelli, who a lot of people are starting to, you know, pay attention to, because he's also had a great sort of tournament, but he can't even get on the pitch. That's how good that midfield is. And moving on to the front line for Italy, you got Insigne, Chiesa, and of course the man up front, Immobile, who hasn't really been firing in the last couple of games. He got off to a very good start in the first two games in particular, where he scored back-to-back games. But since then, he's been somewhat quiet. Belotti comes in and around, in and off the bench, sorry, should I say. I mean, he's got pace in behind. That could be a concern if he goes onto the back on Maguire, but we'll get onto that. But in terms of what Immobile possesses, I mean, his hold-up play in most games is second to none. He's a quality goal poacher, and he will find himself in the right areas. I mean, again, it's not happening for him, but he just needs that one chance, and he will put it to bed. We need to make sure we're on job. Their front three, Insigne is the one. Chiesa got the goal, the all-important goal that did put him into the final. But it is Insigne for me. That is the main concern. Chiesa as well would be a huge concern. I don't think Berardi is going to start over Insigne. Chiesa, sorry. I would be surprised if that is the case. But as I'm saying, Insigne is a concern for me, because for me personally, Kyle Walker's playing right back. Okay, we understand that. There's been a couple of occasions that Kyle Walker's been found out in this tournament, and he's utilised his pace, his recovery pace in particular, to get back into position, nullify the attack. I mean, against Insigne, if you slip up, this guy is absolutely lightning quick, as we know. You're not going to get a second chance against Insigne. The way Kyle Walker has been getting away with it, using his pace to get back into position. Even against Denmark, he covered the ground fantastically well to get back and block the shot. I can't remember if it was again. It might have been against Dahlberg, but I mean, against Insigne, we got to be on job. This guy likes to cut in every 2 seconds. We need to make sure when he's cutting in, he's cutting into bodies. He's not got the flipping whole pitch of Wembley to cut into. I mean, that's going to be a concern in itself if we continue to allow a player of his caliber to cut in. I mean, that's something that we definitely need to look at. We can't allow him on his right foot at all. I mean, he's got quality in abundance. Chiesa has been fantastic. Chiesa, we sure, as it said in the chat, is a matchup. I mean, that would be a very good matchup. Again, Chiesa. I mean, for me personally, I don't understand. Like, why is Chiesa not been starting more frequently? The guy's had an absolutely brilliant season for Juventus. I know they didn't have the season as a club, but on a personal level, he's done really well for Juventus. I was really surprised. I actually bought him in my first draft in fantasy football, the Euros version. I bought Chiesa. He was one of the players I bought from the start, and he didn't play. So it did surprise me. No, Berardi's done somewhat okay, but if Chiesa doesn't play, I'm gonna be happy. I've got to say, I'm gonna be happy. I mean, in terms of how we nullify their front line, it's going to be difficult. Very tricky players, but you saw Spain, the way they controlled the game against Italy. Italy was struggling in that game. It's somewhat fortunate to get through, in my personal opinion. But at the end of the day, they dug in deep and got the victory. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how we set up to try and nullify the wingers. I think with what Southgate has done, he's been absolutely fantastic. For me personally, I think I'd go for the exact same lineup that started the last game. However, I'm going to throw a span in the works. I know it's not going to happen. This is just me thinking out loud. I would personally start Marcus Rashford on the right wing. I know he's not brilliant on the right wing. However, you know, Emerson is playing left back, if I'm not mistaken, unless they've got someone else to cover there. I know Spinazzola obviously has got his Achilles, done his Achilles, so hopefully speedy recovery for him. But I'm expecting Emerson to start, and although Emerson was fairly solid against Spain, he is a liability. The ball in behind Chiellini, Bonucci, Emerson in particular, them three. I mean, there's two centre-backs, phenomenal, of course, but they have not got any pace there. Emerson, them two centre-backs not got any pace. Emerson has got no positional sense whatsoever. Chelsea fans will tell you, great going forward. He's gonna pose a threat going forward. Don't get me wrong. He might even score. Who knows? He's a bit like Alonso in that sense. But Rashford, for me personally, in behind would be an absolute nightmare for Emerson, because Emerson's going to want to come and get forward as much as he possibly can. I would personally go for Rashford and keep the rest of the team the way it was with Mount, etc. In the midfield. But I know he's not going to do that. I know Saka's going to play, and I wouldn't be opposed to Saka starting this game. I personally would go for Rashford. I think he would nullify their weaknesses and really, really exploit them with not only his pace, but his ability to run in behind. You've seen it time and time again this season. Lindelof playing the ball over the top to Rashford in space, and he's been devastated. He's not really at the best place in terms of form, but you know, he's still got quality in abundance, and I still believe in his ability on his day. Again, I'm not expecting that to happen because he's barely kicked a ball this tournament, so that wouldn't make much sense for Southgate to randomly chuck him in there. I mean, even as a substitution, I think Rashford needs to be in the conversation. But let's get onto the actual lineup that Southgate's going to do. I think he's going to keep the same team, and like I've already said, I won't be mad about it. Saka in particular offers a lot going forward and defensively. Although he's a bit quiet in that Denmark game, I thought he probably deserved to get subbed off a bit earlier. But in terms of his directness, as you saw in the Germany game in particular, you know, committing people, getting fouls further up the pitch, he's going to be a massive, massive positive, because I feel like Italy are going to dominate the ball for large periods of the game. So we need someone running in behind, causing the problems, making them think the other way. And he's definitely someone who can do that. In terms of midfield, you know, I don't see why he would change any of it. It wouldn't make sense. The only change you could potentially make is bringing Henderson in. But again, similar to the Rashford situation, they barely had any minutes. It wouldn't make much sense to really flip the script and change it too much. On the flip side, if we do play the same team, Mancini can just, you know, come up with a plan, because you know what to expect. You've got 6-7 games there of footage to really analyze the players' weaknesses. You can look at a lot of footage there, all the 90 minutes, and really pick out little things. I'm sure the football analysts for Italy are doing that right now as I'm doing this show. That is the only concern. We're keeping the same team. I know the defense needs to stay the same. Midfield probably needs to stay the same. The front three, you maybe need to mix it slightly. Of course, Sterling and Kane keep their position, rightfully so. Sterling's going to be another threat for us as well going forward. He's been absolutely phenomenal this season. For me personally, England's player of the tournament if England are successful and retaining the trophy. But for me, we need to slightly change something, because I think it's going to be too predictable and we're going to play into Mancini's hand, and that is a concern for me. A lot of people will think, let's play the same team as working XYZ, and I understand that. But when you've played that many games in a competition in such a short period of time with the same team, other teams will be looking at that, especially a team like Italy, who are top quality team, and they're going to think, how do we nullify this England team? What makes them tick? I mean, they're going to be studying every single game here. And of course, we will do the same for them. They're going to be playing a very similar team, so that would benefit us as well. But the difference is they're going to most likely control the game. They'll dictate the tempo. They'll dictate what's happening in the game most likely. I don't feel like Phillips and Rice and Mount potentially have the ability to do that against them. So that is a concern. I would just mix it up. I would put Rashford in there just to throw a spanner in their plans, because Rashford does run the other way if instructed to do so. He's got that blistering pace. He's very difficult to defend against on his day. But I mean, it's going to be Saka, which would be interesting. But let's get your thoughts in. Usman, how are you feeling overall for the game on Sunday? Thank you, Yusuf, for your question. For me personally, I'm worried, of course, because Italy, I think it's going to be a very tight game. I think it's going to be really cagey. It's going to be 1 goal, maybe 2 goals in it. Of course, I will give my prediction shortly. However, I still think England got enough to beat Italy on the day. You saw with Spain, who, you know, they've got a lot of quality in midfield, but in the final third, you know, Olmo was very good on the day, but he just wasn't happening from England. I got Sterling there, potentially Saka, just a bit more quality to really capitalize on some of the Italian frailties at the back that was shown in that Spain game. I mean, against pace, they were struggling a lot, and you know, Spain don't have a predominantly quick attack. But even then, Olmo very tricky, ghosted into these midfield areas where Mason Mount will find himself frequently in the game. I think this could be a good game for Mason Mount, although I would personally think Grealish could be phenomenal in this game. You saw with Olmo in particular throughout the first half, you know, he was ghosting into this little false position in number 10 from the right wing, and it was really, really tricky for them to deal with. They couldn't pick him up for majority of the game. I mean, he was quite comfortably the man of match for Spain, for me personally, if they were to have gone and been successful in the game. But we need to look at that. We need to look at those little areas, those that false position in between the lines, and we need to get players in those pockets of space. I mean, Mount, again, he can do that. However, Grealish would be phenomenal at that. He really would do that job brilliantly. And basically what Olmo did, Grealish is 10 times a player for me personally. I mean, I'm not disrespecting Olmo. He was phenomenal. He's had a good season as well at RB. But yeah, that's what we need to focus on. That little bit there. Obviously, Emerson, as I already mentioned, get the ball in behind him. He likes to push on. He likes to bomb on a lot. That's where our joy is going to come in this game. But my concern is the fact that are we going to offer anything going forward, because I'm expecting them to control the game. England do have the ability to, you know, nullify their attack, but it's what we have going forward. I don't want Kane isolated. I want Sterling to be close to Kane. I want Shaw to be overlapping like he has been doing. And we need to ensure that we offer something going forward. But my concern, just to answer your question, is it's going to be a very cagey game, and it's just going to be a moment of individual brilliance. Pickford also is a massive concern for me. The last 2 games, I mean, some people saying he should have not conceded the free kick. I mean, each their own opinion. I'm not going to sit and criticize him for, you know, conceding a free kick, which is hit with that ferocity. But his kicking, he actually threw a ball out to one of the Danish players. Braithwaite, I think it was actually. I mean, he got away with murder there. If he does that to a Chiesa, for example, I mean, that's going to go into the back of the net. You can't be doing shit like that. It's a final. He seems to buckle under pressure the last couple of games. It hasn't really cost us significantly, but he's been very shaky, and that's something that they would have looked at. Potentially compress him, put him under a bit of pressure from the front. His passing's been a bit suspect, so he's a concern for me. Other concern, obviously, is the fact that we probably won't control the game, and Italy, with Verratti pulling the strings, is going to be an absolute problem for us. But yeah, let's get some more thoughts in. If you play a 4-2-3-1 formation, the person playing 10, Mount or Bruno for United, can be anonymous sometimes in games. It's strange. Showing up, but sometimes the game bypasses. Yeah, absolutely. I thought the game bypassed Mount the day. Actually, I don't think he had a good game. I know a lot of people criticized Kane and said he didn't have a good game, but I personally thought Kane was doing Mount's job as well as his own, dropping deep. I mean, Kane tapped the first goal for me personally with that ball through behind the lines for Saka. A great run from him. But I mean, Mount is a weird one. If I was choosing a team, I wouldn't start him. But I'm not going to sit here even bother explaining why, because it's pointless, because I know he's going to start. You know, I would put Grealish in that, as I already mentioned. Olmo causing problems in those pockets. I think Grealish could definitely do that for us, even off the bench. we're still in the game. Get Greenish in that Olmo role and get him to just float around. I mean, they were struggling to pick him up, and like I already mentioned, Greenish got the capabilities of winning a free kick, maybe even winning a penalty. Who knows? But yeah, so let's go on to the latter stage of the preview, which is, of course, the predictions. And first and foremost, how I think the game's going to pan out. The way I think the game's going to pan out is I think it's going to be unbelievably cagey. Two teams very nervous, trying to cancel each other out, really. I am expecting Italy to control the game, although I wouldn't be surprised if England have somewhat of a foothold in periods. Because England, to be fair, have impressed me on the ball. They've been very good on the ball, actually. For many of the games, actually. I know somewhat against lesser opposition, but in particular against the Germany game, against a better opposition, they were very impressive in the way we controlled the game. That one, or had a foothold for periods, 10, 15-minute periods in the game. So I'm hoping for a similar performance to Germany in terms of the way we approached that one. I think that was absolute perfection. We nullified them. I'm hoping we nullified that, Chiesa and Insigne in particular on his right foot. But I think it's going to be cagey, and I think it's going to go to extra time. In fact, I think it's going to go to penalties. I think it's going to finish 1-1, and it's going to go to penalties. And I think England are bringing it home. I mean, that's what I'm hoping. Fingers crossed, touch wood, all that good stuff. Wood here. I mean, I really hope I'm going to bring it home. This would be absolutely brilliant for the country. For the first time in a lifetime, we see England lifting a trophy. I mean, that is just an outstanding thing. Somewhat emotional to an extent. I mean, you don't really deep it until you actually think about it and take it in. I mean, it's been 55 plus years. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, that's my personal opinion. I mean, I'm probably being biased here. I'm sure a lot of Italian fans are saying that they're going to bring you back to Rome, and understandably, you got to back your own team. But I do think England have enough quality to beat Italy on the day. You've seen from Spain causing them problems left, right, and centre. We'll just have to wait and see how it pans out. Regarding the watch along, as always, I normally do watch along. I'm sure some of you guys are expecting that. To be honest with you guys, I don't really know what's happening with the watch along. I'm kind of and ahhing if I'm doing that. I'm going over to Adam's house. That's Dars. It is his birthday as well, so fantastic. Two birds, one stone sort of thing. So I don't know if we're doing the watch along. I think he's going to have family over, so probably most likely I won't do it because, of course, that would be weird. But we'll have to wait and see. If I don't do it, then obviously I'll be back on Monday to react to whatever happens. Win, loss, or I was about to say draw. But win or loss, we'll be back on Monday with a podcast reacting to that. Hopefully some of the guys will be able to come on. If not, it will be me. I will be back. I promise I'll be back on Monday if I'm not doing the watching on Sunday. Apart from that, it's been your boy Usman. Stay tuned. Next week we got a lot of good content coming for you. Probably not as frequent as you would like, but maybe 3 to 4 videos a week. So make sure if you haven't, slap a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. I mean, if you haven't watched this live, make sure you put your score predictions down below so I can read. I want to see the general consensus. But for me personally, football is coming home on penalties to England. Thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, shout out to you lovely people. I mean, I do this content for you guys. It's the reason I'm sat here today. Because, we may not be about the views, but I appreciate the community, what we have. But anyways, it's been your boy Spine. Come on, England! Come on! Peace.